On to Executive Vice President of the Conference of Major American Jewish Organizations, Malcolm Hoenlein.
Shalom, how are you?
Baruch Hashem. So we're here for the annual conference in Israel. We understand that you're relating to internal issues, external issues, security, society.
We're certainly meeting at a very critical time, as it seems we always do when we come on this annual visit. This is the 39th annual mission. The delegation came from Paris, where they met with President Hoenlein and the Foreign Minister, Prime Minister, many other officials, but mostly with the Jewish community, show solidarity with the Jews in Toulouse. But it underscores some of the challenges that exist in the world today, the rise of anti-Semitism, extremism, the delegitimization campaign against Israel. And it's a proper introduction to the discussions we've had here, where we look at both the internal issues and the formation of a government, some of the issues that confront Israel, but also the external issues, and Iran, Syria, the dangers of the chemical weapons and other advanced weapons falling in the wrong hands, Hezbollah's activity, Iran's nuclear program, but also Iran's aggressiveness in the region and outside. It's become a global danger, and as we've discussed in the past, this is not Israel or a Jewish problem. This is a world problem and has to be treated as such. We also looked at some of the internal issues here in Israel, from the social protests and the divisions within society, which we think are a great danger to Israel, because you can only confront all of the challenges I mentioned if Israel is united. And I think what we heard from the different heads of parties is that there really is a lot of commonality. Of course, politics stresses the differences, but I think what we heard was that people really understand the need for Israel to come together, and hopefully we'll have a government soon, and we'll meet with President Obama as a united country and again foster the special relationship that does exist. It is healthy. It is vital. Again, any tensions between the United States and Israel get the coverage. But the overwhelming preponderance of positive that goes on day to day between the United States and Israel in so many areas, intelligence and security, everybody knows, but in R&D, research and development, high-tech, agriculture, so many other areas where there's ongoing exchanges and ongoing cooperation that people don't read about and doesn't make news. So I hope that out of this, with a new government here and a new government in the United States, even with leaders who were reelected, can project to the world the reality of the U.S.-Israel relationship, which is positive, strong, and fundamentally there is no disagreement on what we want to see happen with Iran, what both want to see happen in Syria, what they want to see in the region, about dealing with the Muslim Brotherhood, dealing with the situation in Lebanon, and certainly strengthening Jordan, and even moving towards peace with the Palestinians.
Now, we're also talking about the upcoming visit of President Obama. How do you relate to the rumors, to the talks about the fact that maybe President Obama will be coming with more pressures on Israel, maybe to freeze constructions in Judea and Samaria, things that can change the situation for Prime Minister Netanyahu and his government?
I don't think that's the president's agenda, and I'm sure they're still working on the details. But in my discussions with people in the White House and State Department elsewhere, I don't think that's the direction that they're moving. I think the president wants to restart the relationship and to emphasize the positives, to reach understandings with the Prime Minister about moving ahead. Are there going to be differences? Certainly. But if you put them in the right context, if you put them into perspective, the fact is, and a position we have long advocated to the United States and both sides, is that differences should be dealt with quietly, that the public projection has to be of the United States and Israel standing together. In the best of relationships, you'll have differences. But if we show that we're divided, then the neighbors of Israel, the enemies of both countries, and the friends of both countries will read this and say, we can't rely on it either. If we can't see that the two countries who have so much in common, and they say if Israel can't rely on the United States, how can we? If they don't see that the two are going to stand together against these forces of evil in the region, then they're going to give up hope. So it's of major significance to both countries to project this kind of positive unity and common purpose.
Now, how would you define the goal of major American Jewish organizations if maybe back in 1948, 1967, they were there supporting the backbone of the State of Israel? It's not the same today.
Well, the situation has changed dramatically, obviously. I remember when my parents, Olam L'Shalom, used to send coffee and things to Israel. Now we take things home to the United States when we come. So Israel today is not the Nebuchadnezzar Israel. It is no longer, the rich uncle from America coming to visit. In fact, we've come to rely on Israel more and more, and Israel's gained centrality in our lives. Israel is a powerful country with a strong economy that is a model to the world. It's something we can be proud of in so many ways and identify with. And I think in that regard, the relationship has transformed over the years, and we are now, as a Jewish community, seeing two major centers of Jewish life with satellite communities, France, Russia, others that are important. But the two main centers of Jewish life have to come together and look at the future of the Jewish people. Then, in regard to the Jewish state, today Israel is a power. It's recognized as a power. Nobody knows how small it is and what the reality of Israel's size. But to the world, it's a major power. So we, in dealing with our government and our advocacy, is to help explain what Israel's facing, to help put into perspective some of the issues, to look at the challenges and say why it's so important for American Israel to be together on these things. American people get it, basically. That's why 2/3 express support for Israel. These are not Jews. And it's not a Jewish or Israel lobby. It's the American people. And they're not doing it because of political pressure or something else, some nefarious activities. It is what the American people believe because they identify with Israel, that Israel stands for what America stands for. And many times, when Israel has to take out some of its enemies, they say, this is what we want America. We want America to lead on these things. So those are some of the changes that I think have taken place. And there is an adjustment going on. And, American Jews can ask Israel to live by its standards. We can pressure for certain rights. We can urge certain policies. But internally, but I think, and nor can Israel impose on American Jews and Jews around the world. I think it's really got to be a common approach. We have to come together, talk things through. There are no major differences fundamentally. We're one people, and our survival will be as one people. We have one faith and one fate. And what we've learned from history is there's only one precondition to every great thing that happened to the Jewish people. That was achdus, unity. Not all the other things that people talk about. That's the one precondition that God set from when we stood at Sinai, Kish echad b'lev echad, as one people with one heart, to the rescue of Russian Jews, Ethiopian Jews, Syrian Jews, Iranian Jews. It was when Jews came together. We put aside the differences and recognized that the whole is greater than the sum of the parts. That all of us together are a great force. If we're divided, then we're subject to all the forces of the world.
Malcolm Hoenlein, thank you very much for joining us.
You're welcome.